Welcome back to Sober in the Sun. So, on the last video, we started to look at some of the ideas that the marketers and the advertisers have put into our head around drinking and sunshine. And what I want to do today is talk a little bit more about beliefs. Because what those marketers do is they create beliefs in our mind. The belief that we enjoy drinking when it's sunny, the belief that actually we wouldn't be able to enjoy a sunny day with our friends fully if we didn't have a drink in our hand. Now, none of that is actual laws of physics, is it? None of that is actually unquestionably true. Those are beliefs. And I want to sort of talk about beliefs, but rather than talk about alcohol too much, I thought I'd talk about football. I am referring to, of course, the English version of football or soccer, as it was known by the Victorians and quite often the Americans. Now, whether you like football or not, what I'm going to say probably applies to any sport that you like. Now, I'm going to talk particularly about two English football clubs, Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal. I'm going to talk about them because they are rivals. Now, I'm going to assume that you're a Tottenham Hotspur fan. Now, as a Tottenham Hotspur fan, you don't like Arsenal. So if I offered you tickets to a game at Arsenal's stadium, watching Arsenal play Chelsea, probably another football team you're not that keen on, you would probably say no, wouldn't you? You'd understand that, and in your own life, you probably have a team that you follow, and they've probably got a rival, and you'd understand that you wouldn't want to go and watch that rival. If it's not about sport, maybe it's about music. Maybe you really like a band, and they're mortal enemies of another band. You can't like the Stones and the Beatles, or Oasis and Blur, or anything like that. So you wouldn't want to go and see that other band. Or maybe it's to do with school, where you went to school, where you went to university. They always have rivals, don't they? And you don't like your rivals. We all know that. So we've got our Tottenham fan, and I've forced them to go to Arsenal, and they're not enjoying themselves. Now, you've got to ask the question, why are they not enjoying themselves? Because actually, it's quite a nice place to go. Arsenal, they play at the Emirates Stadium, and I picked them particularly because I went there a few months ago. My daughter came home from school and announced that she was an Arsenal fan, which sort of surprised me because we don't live anywhere near the ground. I don't support them. My wife doesn't support them. Where this came from, I don't know. Anyway, she's decided she's an Arsenal fan, so I decided to take her along to one of the women's games because one of my friends is a season ticket holder. He goes to all of the Arsenal women's games, and he said it was pretty good. So we went along, and it was fantastic. Stadium was amazing. The atmosphere was wonderful. It really, really was a great atmosphere. I have to say that. And the football was pretty good too. They won. It was a big European night. They beat Real Madrid 3-0. It was a great experience. If we take our Tottenham Hotspur fan and we put them into that experience, they're not going to enjoy themselves, which is strange because it's obviously quite a good experience, but they're not enjoying themselves. Why is that? Well, yeah, all right, it's the rivalry, but what sits below the rivalry? It's the belief, isn't it? Now, that Tottenham Hotspur fan is not going to enjoy themselves, not because of the experience, but because they believe that they shouldn't enjoy themselves. They believe that they would have to be miserable when they were watching Arsenal play football. It is nothing but their beliefs that dictate how they experience that event. Now, there is an immediate and obvious parallel. If you're sitting outside in the sun, socializing with your friends, it's on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, you're relaxed, the sun is shining, you've got good people to talk to, you're in a nice place. That is a very enjoyable experience. Yet there are people out there that wouldn't enjoy it unless they were drinking. Why is that? Is that because drinking is an important part of it? No, it is simply that they believe they couldn't enjoy that experience without alcohol. So it's not the experience that dictates how they feel, it is the belief that dictates how. And one of the most important and useful things you can do is get to grips with all of the stuff that you believe about alcohol, not simply about how it is a vital component to any sunny day, but everything that you believe around alcohol. And there will be an awful lot. What I want to do is just share with you kind of a list of stuff that you might have some beliefs around. So let's have a look at this list. I mean, honestly, you could probably make a much, much longer list, but you probably believe in some way, shape, or form that drinking alcohol is a part of your identity. It helps you to socialize. It helps you to celebrate. You maybe believe it is a habit. You maybe believe it helps you when you're stressed, that it helps you relax. It helps you when you're sad. It helps you meet people. It stimulates you. It is a vital ingredient for sex. It is some way a treat or a reward. It makes you a rebel. All good rebels drink. Everybody knows that. It helps you when you're bored. Maybe you think it gives you creativity. Maybe you think alcohol turns you into Ernest Hemingway. Who knows? You might think it's a part of your routine and that everything would fall apart without it. And for some of you, it might be connected with business. You might think it is an important part of meeting new clients or socializing with your colleagues or getting valuable time with the boss. So those are some of most of the beliefs that you might or might not have about alcohol. Now, what I want you to do is screenshot that. You can obviously pause it and come back to it if you haven't screenshotted it now, or grab your camera, take a picture, quick. Just pause and come back if you didn't get a chance to it. But I want you to look at that list and I want you to go through all of those areas and think about them and ask yourself, what is it that I believe about alcohol around each of those areas? And then just ask yourself whether it's true. Is it true? Does drinking alcohol really help you to socialize? Does it improve the situation, or is it just because you believe that you've got to drink whilst you're socializing, meaning when you are socializing and not drinking, you're going to be miserable, just like our poor, downtrodden Tottenham Hotspur fan? Now, I've given you a big exercise to do there. There is an awful lot to do, and it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So here are a couple of ways that you might want to approach it. You could take that list and start journaling on each one, journal on each area for as long as you need. You might get through an area a day. It might take you a couple of days to go into something like stress. There's a lot there. So you could sit down and journal. Some people love journaling. Some people do not love journaling. So if all I said was journal, about 90%, maybe 80% of the audience would just be switched off. So maybe you want to talk it through with a friend or a partner. That can be really, really useful. You do have to be a little bit careful that you pick the right person. If you pick go on, have a beer, Dave, he's just not necessarily going to help you out, is he? He's probably going to hinder the process of getting to grips with what you believe about alcohol and whether it's true or not. So a trusted friend or partner who is reasonable, explain the exercise, show them this video, and they can help you get to grips with those. The other way is you could make some time for yourself to really think it through. You don't actually have to write it down. Just give yourself the space and time to think through each of those things. That could be on a long walk, could be in a long bath, could be with a cup of coffee. Wherever you do your best thinking, find that space and do that. Or finally, you could do it with somebody who might have some skills for helping you do those kind of things. Obvious people that spring to mind would be coaches, helping you deal with limiting beliefs. That's like pretty much a coach's job description. Or mentors, if you're lucky, mentors will have some of that coaching skill as well. Therapists also very much kick about in the world of belief, so they can help you with that. However, maybe your sponsor, or maybe even somebody from one of the religious organizations you belong to, maybe a priest or a counselor from your church or your mosque or your temple or something like that might be able to help you with that. Again, you do have to be a bit careful. You have to have a good relationship with these people so you can be honest with them. And sometimes they can have some clashing beliefs, which might get in the way of that. But in general, those are good places to start. Take a screenshot of all of those beliefs, journal them, talk them through with a friend, make some space for yourself to think them through, or talk them through with somebody with some real solid listening skills. So that's all I've got time for in this video, but come back for the next one. We'll delve deeper into all of our thoughts and feelings about drinking in the sunshine, and I will see you then.